The alarm bells rang through the human ship as Captain Dongwu ran down the metal hallway. His boots made loud sounds on the floor as explosions shook the walls around him. The Velkari ship they were attacking was much bigger than his own vessel, but he had no choice. They needed the information inside that alien computer. "So Young, are you ready?" He spoke into his radio as he reached the airlock door. "Yes, Captain. The cutting tools are working. We can get through their hull in 2 minutes," came the voice of his engineer. So Young had been with his crew for 3 years now. She was one of the smartest people he knew, and she never gave up when things got hard. Dongwu looked at the 20 soldiers behind him. They all wore thick black armor that covered their whole bodies. Each one carried weapons that fired blue, energy beams. These weapons were copies of Velkari guns they had stolen from other battles. The humans had learned to make their own versions, but they still needed more alien technology to fight back. "Listen to me," Dongwu said to his team. "This is the 8th time the Velkari have sent ships to attack our worlds. Each time we have fought them off, but each time they come back with bigger fleets and stronger weapons. Today we get the information we need to stop them forever." Marine Hyunwoo stepped forward. He was a big man with scars on his face from the last battle. "Captain, what if this is a trap? The Velkari might know we are coming." "Then we die fighting," Dongwu said simply. "But we do not run away. Too many humans have already died because these aliens think they own the galaxy." The cutting was finished. So Young's voice came through the radio again. "We are through, Captain. The alien atmosphere is safe for humans. Their ship has artificial gravity, too." Dongwu nodded to his men. "Remember the plan. Hyunwoo, take 10 soldiers and secure the engine room. I will take the rest to the command center. So Young, you come with me to find their computer systems." They moved through the hole in the alien ship's hull. The inside was different from human ships. The walls were covered with strange patterns that glowed with purple light. The air smelled like metal and something else they could not identify. Everything was bigger than it needed to be, built for aliens who were much taller than humans. The Velkari had not expected humans to board their ship. Most of the alien crew was at battle stations, trying to fight the other human ships outside. Dongwu and his team moved quietly through the empty hallways. Their weapons were ready, but they hoped to avoid fighting until they reached their target. They found the command center after 10 minutes of searching. It was a huge room with screens covering all the walls. Strange symbols moved across the displays, showing information about the battle happening in space. In the center of the room was a large chair where the alien captain would sit. "There," So Young whispered, pointing to a wall covered with blinking lights. "That is their main computer. If I can connect to it, I can copy all their files." 3. Velkari soldiers suddenly appeared at the door. They were 8 feet tall with gray skin and 4 arms. Their eyes were black and cold. They carried weapons that looked like silver tubes. "Humans," one of them said in broken English. "You die, now." The battle was fast and loud. The Velkari weapons fired red beams that burned holes in the walls. The human guns shot blue energy that could cut through alien armor. Dongwu rolled behind a computer console as red light flashed over his head. Hyunwoo's voice came through the radio. "Captain, we have the engine room, but more aliens are coming. We cannot hold this position for long." "Work faster, So Young!" Dongwu shouted as he fired at the aliens. So Young was already at the computer wall, connecting her devices to the alien systems. Her fingers moved quickly over her tools as enemy fire exploded around her. She had studied Velkari technology for years, ever since they destroyed her home colony. She knew their computer languages and security systems. "I am in," she called out, "copying their files now. This will take 3 minutes." One of the Velkari soldiers threw a silver ball that exploded with bright light. Dongwu could not see for several seconds. When his vision cleared, the alien was standing over him with a weapon pointed at his head. "Your species is weak," the Velkari said. "We have conquered 100 worlds. Earth will be no different." "Maybe," Dongwu said, "but we will not make it easy for you." He pulled a small device from his belt and pressed the button. It was a human invention, a sonic disruptor that made loud sounds that hurt alien ears. The Velkari soldier fell to his knees, holding his head and screaming. Dongwu shot him with his energy weapon. "So Young, how much longer?" "1 more minute. Their files are huge." They have information about dozens of star systems, including all the human colonies they have attacked. More alarms started ringing through the alien ship. Hyunwoo's voice was urgent on the radio. Captain, they are trying to seal us in. The aliens are closing blast doors throughout the ship. Can you get back to our ship? Not if they seal the engine room. We might be trapped here. Dongwoo made a hard choice. All teams, prepare for emergency extraction. We will have to fight our way out. Done, So-young said, pulling her devices away from the alien computer. I have everything. Star charts, military plans, technology specifications, and something else. Something big. They ran from the command center as more Velkari soldiers appeared in the hallways. The aliens were angry now, shooting their red weapons without caring if they damaged their own ship. Dongwoo's team fought back as they moved toward their escape route. What did you find in their computer? Dongwoo asked as they ran. They are not just attacking human worlds for conquest, So-young said, breathing hard. They are testing us. The Velkari Empire wants to see how well humans fight before they launch a major war against other alien species. What do you mean? We are their practice enemy, Captain. If they can beat humanity easily, they will attack the other free worlds in the galaxy. If we fight too hard, they will destroy Earth completely before moving on. This news made Dongwoo angry. The Velkari were not just enemies of humanity. They were planning to enslave or kill every free species in known space. Earth was their test case. They reached the hole in the ship's hull just as Hyunwoo and his team arrived from the engine room. Everyone was alive, but several soldiers were wounded. The Velkari had stopped chasing them, probably because they were too close to the ship's hull to use heavy weapons. Everyone back to our ship now, Dongwoo ordered. As they crossed back to their own vessel, explosions started inside the alien ship. The Velkari were destroying their own computer systems to prevent humans from getting more information. It was too late, though. So-young had already copied everything they needed. Captain, So-young said as they reached safety, there is something else you need to know. According to their files, this is not their strongest fleet. The really big ships are still coming. 3 hours later, Dongwoo stood in the command center of Earth's orbital defense station. Admiral Ji-hai looked at the information So-young had stolen from the Velkari computer. Her face was serious as she read the alien military plans. How many ships are we talking about? The admiral asked. Their next fleet will have 200 vessels, So-young replied, including ships bigger than anything we have seen before. They call it the 9th Fleet. Admiral Ji-hai looked out the window at Earth below. The blue and green planet looked peaceful from space, but she knew that millions of humans lived there. All of them were depending on the military to protect them from the aliens. Then we have no choice, she said finally. Call Dr. Minho. Tell him it is time to activate Project Prometheus. Dongwoo had heard rumors about Project Prometheus, but he did not know what it was. Admiral, what is Project Prometheus? It is our secret weapon, Captain. For 8 years, we have been preparing for this moment. The Velkari think humans are weak because we use simple tactics and old technology. They are about to learn that humans are very good at hiding their true strength. Dr. Minho arrived at the command center an hour later. He was a thin man with gray hair who looked more like a teacher than a weapons scientist. But Dongwoo could see intelligence in his eyes and something else. Determination. Admiral, I have been waiting for your call, Dr. Minho said. Project Prometheus is ready. All our hidden weapons are in position throughout the solar system. Our new ships are complete and waiting in the asteroid belt. Our special troops have finished their training. How long before the Velkari arrive? According to their stolen files, 3 months. They are gathering ships from across their empire for this final attack. Admiral Ji-hai nodded. Then we have 3 months to prepare for the most important battle in human history. If we win, we save not just Earth, but every free world in the galaxy. If we lose, humanity ends. Dr. Minho smiled, but it was not a happy smile. Admiral, we will not lose. The Velkari have made one big mistake. They think humans fight like other species. They do not understand that when you threaten our families, we become something different. Something dangerous. Outside the window, Earth continued to turn in space. unaware that its fate would be decided in 3 months. But in secret bases, throughout the solar system, humans were preparing weapons and strategies that would shock the galaxy. The Velkhari expected another easy victory. They were about to discover that the 9th time would be very different. Fleet Marshal Thek Ran stood on the command bridge of his flagship and watched thousands of ships gather in the empty space around Proxima Centauri. This was the largest fleet the Velkhari Empire had ever assembled. 200 warships, each one bigger and more powerful than anything the humans had seen before. The Fleet Marshal was old, even by Velkhari standards. His gray skin was marked with scars from 50 years of conquest across the galaxy. He had destroyed entire civilizations and enslaved dozens of species. But the humans had been different. 8 times he had sent fleets to conquer Earth. 8 times those fleets had been destroyed or badly damaged. "How long until all ships are ready?" he asked his second-in-command. 2 weeks, Fleet Marshal. The final dreadnoughts are arriving from the Outer Rim territories. Thek Ran nodded. This time would be different. This time, he would not just conquer the human worlds, he would burn every human city and space station until nothing remained. The Empire was tired of human resistance. His ship, the Empire's Wrath, was the size of a small moon. It carried enough weapons to destroy planets and shields that could stop any attack. Behind it floated the rest of the 9th Fleet, heavy cruisers, battle carriers, and assault ships filled with soldiers. "Send a message to the Imperial Council," Thek Ran ordered. "Tell them the 9th Fleet will depart in 14 days. After we destroy the humans, no other species will dare to resist the Empire." Far away in the Sol system, Captain Su Jin sat in a dark room filled with computer screens. She was part of Earth's intelligence division, and her job was to watch for enemy fleets. The information that Captain Dongwu and So Young had stolen was helping her track Velkhari movements across space. "Admiral Ji-hai, you need to see this," Sujin said into her communicator. The Admiral arrived in the intelligence center within minutes. She looked tired. For 3 months, she had been working day and night to prepare Earth's defenses. "What did you find?" Admiral Ji-hai asked. Sujin pointed to her largest screen. It showed a map of nearby star systems with red dots marking enemy ships. "The Velkhari are gathering everything they have at Proxima Centauri. Our spy satellites count at least 150 ships already, with more arriving every day." "How big are these ships?" "Much larger than before. Their flagship is enormous, bigger than our largest space station. And Admiral, there is something else. Our computers analyzed the stolen Velkhari files and found their real plan." Admiral Ji-hai felt cold fear in her stomach. "Tell me." "They are not planning to conquer Earth this time. They want to destroy it completely. Every human city, every orbital station, every colony ship. They call it Final Solution Protocol." The Admiral was quiet for a long moment. Then she activated her emergency communicator. "All department heads to the main conference room immediately. Code red priority." Dr. Minho was already in the conference room when Admiral Ji-hai arrived. With him were the other leaders of Project Prometheus, the scientists and engineers who had spent 8 years building humanity's secret weapons. "The situation has changed," the Admiral said without introduction. "The Velkhari are not coming to conquer us. They are coming to exterminate us." Engineer Wubin looked up from his computer tablet. He was younger than Dr. Minho, but just as brilliant. For years, he had been building special weapons throughout the asteroid belt. "How long do we have?" 2 weeks until they depart Proxima Centauri. Another week for travel time. 3 weeks total. Dr. Minho stood up. "Then it is time to begin final preparations. Wubin, start deploying the quantum disruption mines. I want them positioned along every possible approach route to Earth." "What about the gravitational resonance array?" asked Dr. Ye Jin. She was the physicist who had designed humanity's most secret weapon, a system that could use gravity itself as a weapon. "Begin activation sequence immediately," Admiral Ji-hai ordered. "How long until it is ready?" "The array has been hidden in the asteroid belt for 2 years. We can have it operational in 10 days, but only if we work without stopping." Captain Jin-ah entered the conference room. She commanded the civilian evacuation ships that would carry non-essential people away from Earth before the battle. "Admiral, we have a problem. There are too many people to evacuate in 3 weeks. The orbital stations alone have 50,000 civilians. Then we evacuate who we can and prepare the rest for siege conditions, the Admiral decided. Captain Jinnah, prioritize children and families. Everyone else stays to fight. Dr. Minho activated a holographic display that showed the entire solar system. Red dots marked hidden human weapons and secret bases. Let me show you what we have been building for 8 years. The hologram zoomed in on Mars. Hidden beneath the polar ice caps, we have constructed the largest weapons factory in human history. It has been producing our new warships and fighter craft. The display moved to the asteroid belt. Concealed among the mining stations are gravitational weapon platforms, quantum disruption generators, and our new type of battleship. What makes our ships different? Asked Captain Sujin. Engineer Wubin smiled. They are built using captured Velkari technology, but improved with human modifications. Our ships can do things that Velkari engineers think are impossible. The hologram showed the outer solar system. And here, hidden in the ice rings of Neptune, we have our surprise weapon. Something the Velkari have never seen before. What is it? Admiral Ji-hai asked. Phase shift ships, Dr. Ye-jin explained. They can move in and out of normal space. Velkari sensors cannot track them, and their weapons cannot hit them. Dr. Minho looked around the room. For 8 battles, we have been learning. Every Velkari, tactic. Every weapon, every weakness. We have studied them like scientists study insects. Now we know exactly how to destroy them. But Admiral, Captain Sujin said quietly, even with all our secret weapons, 200 enemy ships is a lot. What if it is not enough? Admiral Ji-hai was quiet for a moment. Then she spoke in a voice that was cold and hard. Then we make sure that when the Velkari destroy Earth, they pay such a terrible price that no other alien species will ever attack. Humans again. We make our extinction so costly that it becomes a warning to the entire galaxy. Over the next 2 weeks, the solar system became a giant weapons platform. Captain Jinnah worked day and night to evacuate civilians from the orbital stations. Her ships carried families and children to hidden bases in the outer system, far from the coming battle. Meanwhile, Engineer Wubin deployed thousands of quantum disruption mines along the likely paths that enemy ships would take. These weapons were invisible to Velkari sensors and could trap entire fleets in twisted space. Dr. Ye-jin activated the gravitational resonance array piece by piece. The weapon was spread across hundreds of asteroids, disguised as mining equipment. When it was complete, it could create gravity fields strong enough to crush starships. Captain Dongwu took command of humanity's new flagship, the Humanities, Wrath. It was built using stolen Velkari technology but improved with human engineering. The ship was smaller than the enemy flagship, but much faster and smarter. How does it feel? So Young asked him as they walked through the ship's corridors. She was now his chief engineer, responsible for all the new technology. Strange, Dongwu admitted. For years, we have been running and hiding from the Velkari. Now we have ships that are better than theirs. Not just better, Captain. Different. The Velkari build everything to be big and powerful. We build things to be smart and flexible. They reached the ship's command center. It was smaller than Velkari. Bridges, but filled with advanced computers and displays. The walls showed real-time information about every ship and weapon in the solar system. So Young, are you sure our weapons will work? She nodded. I have tested them against captured Velkari equipment. Our quantum virus can take control of their computer systems. Our phase shift generators can make us invisible to their sensors. Our gravity weapons can destroy their ships from the inside. Meanwhile, at Proxima Centauri, Fleet Marshal Thek Ron received the final reports from his scouts. The human defenses looked the same as always. A few orbital stations around Earth, some patrol ships and mining operations in the asteroid belt. The humans have not learned, he told his officers. They still think they can fight us with inferior technology and desperate tactics. Fleet Marshal, his intelligence officer said, our scouts report some unusual activity in the human asteroid belt. More ships than normal, and some energy readings we cannot identify. Probably mining equipment, Thek Ran said dismissively. Humans are always digging in rocks looking for metals. It does not matter. Our weapons can destroy everything in their solar system. He activated the fleet-wide communication system. All ships, prepare for departure. In 7 days, we will reach the human solar system. In 8 days, Humanity will be extinct. The 200 ships of the Ninth Fleet began moving toward Earth. Each ship was confident of easy victory. None of them knew that the humans had spent 8 years preparing for this exact moment. Back in the Sol system, Admiral HFY watched the enemy fleet approach on her long-range sensors. She stood in Earth's orbital command center, surrounded by the best military minds humanity had ever produced. Dr. Minho, are all weapons ready? Yes, Admiral. Every mine, every hidden ship, every secret base is prepared. Captain Dongwu, is the fleet. The Velkari Ninth Fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Sol system like a cloud of metal death. 200 warships spread across space in perfect formation, their weapons already charging for battle. Fleet Marshal Thekran stood on his command bridge and smiled as his sensors showed the same weak human defenses he had expected. Just as before, he told his officers. A few patrol ships, some orbital stations, and mining operations. The humans have learned nothing. His intelligence officer studied the sensor readings. Fleet Marshal, I am detecting 37 human ships in the outer system. All are small patrol vessels or cargo ships. No sign of their main fleet. Because they have no main fleet worth mentioning, Thekran said with satisfaction. Begin. The advance. Destroy any human ships that do not surrender immediately. Far away, hidden behind a large asteroid, Commander Tae-young watched the enemy fleet through his ship's sensors. His small patrol vessel looked old and weak, but it was equipped with the most advanced stealth technology humans had ever built. This is Commander Tae-young to Admiral HFY, he whispered into his communicator. The Velkari have arrived. 200 ships just as intelligence predicted. They are beginning their advance toward the inner system. Understood, Commander, came the Admiral's voice. Begin Phase 1 of the operation. Make them believe we are running scared. Tae-young activated his ship's communication system and spoke to the other patrol vessels scattered throughout the outer system. All ships, you know the plan. Let them see you take a few shots, then run toward the inner system. Make it look like we are panicking. The human patrol ships began their carefully planned retreat. They appeared on Velkari sensors just long, enough to fire a few weak laser shots, then fled toward Mars and Earth. To the aliens, it looked like the same desperate tactics humans had used in all previous battles. The humans are running as expected, the Velkari intelligence officer reported. Our forward ships are pursuing them toward the inner planets. Fleet Marshal Thekran was pleased. Good. Maintain pursuit. Destroy any human ship that tries to make a stand. But the retreat was not real. Every human ship knew exactly where to go, exactly when to appear, and exactly when to disappear. They were drawing the Velkari fleet deeper into the solar system, into the trap that had been 8 years in the making. On Earth, Admiral HFY watched the battle unfold on her command screens. The orbital command center was buried deep under the planet's surface, protected by layers of armor and energy shields. Around her, dozens of officers monitored every ship movement and weapons system in the solar system. Tactical Coordinator Seung-ho, report, she ordered. Seung-ho was a thin man with quick eyes who had studied every detail of Velkari battle tactics. The enemy is following our plan perfectly, Admiral. They are pursuing our patrol ships in a straight line toward Mars. Their fleet formation is exactly what we expected. Excellent. Dr. Haewon, are the hidden weapons ready? Dr. Haewon worked at a control station covered with blinking lights. She was responsible for coordinating all the secret weapons hidden throughout the asteroid belt. All systems are operational, Admiral. The Velkari ships are moving directly through our kill zone. They have no idea what is waiting for them, Admiral. HFY nodded. For 8 years, humans had pretended to be weak and desperate. They had hidden their true capabilities while learning everything about Velkari technology and tactics. Now it was time to spring the trap. Meanwhile, So-young prepared for the most dangerous mission of her life. She stood in the cargo bay of the stealth ship Silent Thunder, checking her equipment one final time. Her job was to infiltrate the enemy flagship and plant a quantum virus in their computer systems. "Are you ready?" asked Captain Dongwu. He had wanted to lead the infiltration mission himself, but Admiral HFY needed him to command the humanity's wrath. "As ready as anyone can be for a suicide mission," So-young replied. She wore a special suit that could make her invisible to Velkari sensors. Her tools included quantum computers, small enough to hide in her palm, and weapons that could cut through alien armor. With her were demolitions expert Kyung-soo and cyber warfare specialist Yun-ji. Kyung-soo was a quiet man who could build explosives from almost anything. Yun-ji was young but brilliant at breaking into alien computer systems. Remember, So-young told them, we only have one chance. Once we are aboard their flagship, we cannot call for help. Either we complete the mission, or we die trying. I understand, Kyung-soo said simply. My family died when the Velkari attacked our colony. I would rather die fighting them than live knowing I did nothing. Yun-ji nodded. The quantum virus is ready. If I can connect to their main computer, it will spread through their entire fleet within minutes. The Silent Thunder was one of humanity's new phase-shift ships. It could move in and out of normal space, making it invisible to enemy sensors. The ship was small, carrying only a crew of 12, but it was equipped with technology that the Velkari could not detect or understand. As the Velkari fleet advanced deeper into the solar system, they began to encounter strange problems. Some of their ships reported sensor ghosts, blips that appeared and disappeared too quickly to identify. Others detected energy readings that did not match any known technology. Fleet Marshal, the intelligence officer said with concern, I am getting unusual readings from the asteroid belt, high energy signatures that do not match human mining equipment. Thekran looked at the sensor displays. What kind of energy signatures? Unknown, sir. They appear to be some kind of weapons platforms, but they are much more advanced than anything humans have shown us before. Impossible, Thekran said firmly. Human technology is decades behind ours. These must be sensor errors or natural phenomena. But they were not sensor errors. Hidden among the asteroids were gravitational weapon platforms that Dr. Yejin had spent 5 years building. Each platform looked like a simple mining station, but contained technology that could bend space itself into a weapon. Dr. Hae-won watched from her command center on Ceres as the Velkari fleet moved through the asteroid belt. Her screens showed the positions of dozens of hidden weapons, all waiting for the signal to activate. Admiral Ji-hai, the enemy is now in the primary kill zone, she reported. All weapons are targeted and ready. Hold position, the admiral ordered. Let them get deeper. We want to trap their entire fleet, not just the advanced ships. The Velkari continued their advance, confident in their superiority. Their ships were spread across millions of kilometers of space, following the fleeing human patrol vessels toward Mars. They had no idea that every movement was being tracked by sensors they could not detect. Captain Dong-woo waited aboard the Humanities, wrath in a hidden dock carved inside a large asteroid. His ship was one of 50 new human vessels built using captured alien technology, but improved with human engineering. Each ship was smaller than Velkari warships, but much faster and more maneuverable. So-young, are you in position? He asked. Through the communication system. Silent Thunder is approaching the enemy flagship, came her reply. We will begin infiltration in 10 minutes. Good luck. Try to come back alive. I will do my best, Captain. The Silent Thunder phase shifted into normal space just long enough to attach itself to the hull of the Empire's Wrath. The Velkari flagship was so huge that one small ship could hide among its many weapon ports and sensor arrays without being detected. So-young and her team used molecular cutting tools to burn through the alien hull. The tools worked silently, creating an opening just large enough for humans to crawl through. Within minutes, they were inside the enemy ship. The interior of the Velkari flagship was designed for beings much larger than humans. The corridors were wide enough for 3 people to walk side by side, and the ceilings were twice as high as necessary. Everything was built from dark metal covered with strange symbols that glowed with purple light. This way, So-young whispered, checking her stolen maps of Velkari ship designs. The main computer core should be 12 levels up from here. They moved carefully through the empty corridors. Most of the ship's crew was at battle stations preparing for the attack on Earth. The few aliens they encountered were quickly and quietly eliminated by Kyung-soo's silent weapons. Meanwhile, Fleet Marshal Thek-ran was becoming impatient with the slow pursuit of human ships. Why are our advance vessels not catching the fleeing humans? He demanded. The human ships are faster than expected, Fleet Marshal, and they seem to know exactly where to go to avoid our weapons. Then stop chasing them individually. Order all ships to form attack formation and advance on Earth directly. We will destroy their planet and end this quickly. This was exactly what Admiral Ji-hai had been waiting for. Seung-ho, the enemy is forming attack formation. Are all our ships ready? Yes. Admiral, all 50 ships are hidden and waiting. Captain Dongwu reports that the humanity's wrath is ready for battle. Dr. Hei-wan, what about the asteroid weapons? All platforms are charged and targeted. We can activate them on your command. Dr. Ye-jin, is the gravitational array ready? The array is operational, Admiral. We can create gravity fields anywhere in the inner system. Admiral Ji-hai looked at her tactical display. The Velkari fleet was spread across space in a perfect attack formation, exactly as human intelligence HA. The space around Mars exploded into violence as humanity's hidden weapons revealed themselves. What the Velkari had thought were simple asteroids suddenly opened like metal flowers, exposing massive energy cannons that fired beams of pure destruction. The alien ships, caught in perfect formation, had nowhere to run. Fleet Marshal Thekran felt his flagship shake as something impossible happened. The asteroids around his fleet were not asteroids at all, but weapons platforms built by humans. Over many years, blue energy beams lanced out from dozens of hidden positions, striking Velkari ships with power that should not exist. Impossible, he whispered, watching his sensor displays fill with enemy contacts that had not been there seconds before. Humans do not have this technology. His intelligence officer's voice was filled with panic. Fleet Marshal, we are detecting 50 major weapons platforms and over 100 smaller ones. All are firing at our ships with energy weapons more powerful than our own. And there are ships, sir. Human ships that are much larger and more advanced than anything we have seen before. Captain Dongwu smiled grimly as the humanity's wrath emerged from its hiding place inside a hollowed-out asteroid. His ship was beautiful and deadly, built with stolen Velkari technology but improved by human engineering. It was smaller than the alien flagship, but faster and more maneuverable. All weapons target the nearest enemy cruiser, he ordered. Show them what human technology can really do. The humanity's wrath fired its main guns, and the Velkari cruiser simply disappeared. The human weapons did not just destroy the enemy ship. They tore it apart at the molecular level, leaving nothing but glowing particles that scattered into space. So young. I hope you are still alive in there, Dongwu said quietly as he watched the enemy flagship. Because this battle is going to get very intense very quickly. Inside the Empire's wrath, So Young and her team worked frantically as alarms began ringing throughout the alien ship. Yunji's fingers flew over her quantum computer as she broke through layer after layer of Velkari security systems. I am almost in, she said, sweat running down her face despite the cool air. Their security is strong, but it was not designed to stop human hacking techniques. Kyung-soo stood guard at the door, his weapons ready. We have company coming. I can hear alien footsteps in the corridor outside. How much longer? So Young asked. 30 seconds. Yunji replied. The quantum virus is almost ready to deploy. The door to the computer room exploded inward as Velkari soldiers blasted through it with heavy weapons. Kyung-soo immediately opened fire with his silent energy rifle, dropping 2 aliens before they could react. But more were coming. Work faster, So Young shouted as she joined the fight. Her weapon fired blue pulses that cut through alien armor like paper. But the Velkari had advantages too. They were bigger, stronger, and had more soldiers. Meanwhile, engineer Wu Bin activated the quantum disruption mines he had spent months placing throughout the solar system. The mines were invisible until they activated, then they created pockets of twisted spacetime that trapped enemy ships. A Velkari battle group trying to escape toward the outer system suddenly found their faster-than-light drives failing. Their ships were caught in bubbles of distorted space, unable to move or communicate with the rest of the fleet. This is impossible, the alien commander transmitted to his flagship. Our engines are not responding. Something is preventing us from entering hyperspace. Fleet Marshal Thekran was beginning to understand that this battle was very different from the previous 8 encounters with humans. His fleet was being systematically destroyed by weapons that should not exist and tactics that made no sense. How many ships have we lost? He demanded. 47 ships destroyed, 23 disabled, and 31 trapped by unknown technology, his tactical officer reported. And Admiral, the human ships are not fighting like before. They are using coordinated attacks and advanced weapons. What kind of weapons? Energy beams that can penetrate our shields, gravity weapons that crush our hulls from the inside, and some kind of phasing technology that makes their ships appear and disappear. Dr. Ye Jin activated the gravitational resonance array from her control station hidden deep in the asteroid belt. The array was spread across hundreds of asteroids, disguised as mining equipment, but when it worked together it could create gravity fields powerful enough to destroy starships. She targeted a group of Valkyrie heavy cruisers that were trying to form a defensive line. With the touch of a button, she created a gravity well between the alien ships. The artificial gravity field was so strong that it pulled the cruisers together, crushing them against each other like tin cans. Dr. Heiwan, this is Ye Jin, she reported. Gravitational array is fully operational. I can create gravity weapons anywhere in the inner system. Excellent, came the reply. Target the enemy flagship's escort ships. We need to isolate their command vessel. Admiral Ji Hai watched the battle from Earth's command center with satisfaction. For 8 years, humans had pretended to be weak, while secretly building the most advanced military technology in the galaxy. Now the Valkyrie were learning what happened when they underestimated human determination. Seung-ho, what is our status? She asked her tactical coordinator. Better than expected, Admiral. We have destroyed or disabled over half the enemy fleet with minimal losses to our own forces. The Valkyrie are trying to retreat, but our quantum mines are preventing most of their ships from escaping. What about So Young's mission? No word yet, but the enemy flagship is still operational. If she had succeeded, their command systems should be failing by now. Inside the Empire's wrath, So Young's team was fighting for their lives as more Valkyrie soldiers poured into the computer room. Yoonji worked at her station while energy beams flew over her head. Done, she shouted suddenly. The quantum virus is uploading into their system. How long until it takes effect? So Young asked as she shot another alien soldier. 5 minutes, for full deployment. But we need to get out of here before they realize what we have done. Kyung-soo pulled the pins on several explosive charges. This way, he yelled, pointing to a maintenance shaft. We can reach our ship through the service tunnels. The 3 humans crawled through the narrow alien maintenance shafts as explosions echoed behind them. Kyung-soo's charges had destroyed the computer room, but not before Yunji's virus had been uploaded into the ship's network. Captain Dong-woo was fighting 3 Valkyrie destroyers when he received a message from the Silent Thunder. Captain, this is So Young. Mission accomplished. We are extracting now. Understood. Try not to get killed on the way out. I will do my best. The humanity's wrath used its phase shift capability to disappear from normal space, just as the enemy. Destroyers fired their weapons. The alien energy beams passed harmlessly through empty space where the human ship had been. A second later, the humanity's wrath reappeared behind the Valkyrie ships and destroyed all 3 with a single volley. Fleet. Marshal Thekran was beginning to panic as his fleet continued to be systematically destroyed by human weapons. His ships could not escape because of the quantum mines, could not fight effectively because the human ships kept disappearing and reappearing, and could not coordinate their defense because something was interfering with their communications. Sir, his communication officer reported, we are losing contact with ships throughout the fleet. Some kind of computer virus is spreading through our network. A virus? How is that possible? Unknown, sir. But it is taking control of ship systems and turning their own weapons against them. This was Yoonji's quantum virus at work. The computer program was designed specifically to attack Valkyrie technology, using weaknesses that So Young had discovered. During 8 years of studying captured alien equipment, the virus did not just disable enemy ships, it took control of their weapons and life support systems. Across the Valkyrie fleet, alien commanders watched in horror as their own ships began firing on each other. Computer screens displayed human messages in perfect Valkyrie language. Your empire ends today. Resistance is futile. Dr. Heiwan coordinated the attacks from her command center, watching as human weapons systematically destroyed the most powerful fleet the galaxy had ever seen. Admiral Ji Hai, we have achieved total tactical superiority. The enemy is trying to retreat, but most of their ships cannot escape. Excellent. Continue the attack. We want to send a message to the entire Valkyrie Empire. Commander Tae-young and his patrol ships had stopped running and were now hunting the surviving alien vessels. His small ships used hit-and-run tactics, appearing long enough to destroy an enemy ship before disappearing again. "This is Commander Tae-young to all units," he transmitted. "The aliens are broken. Finish them off." The battle that the Valkyrie had expected to be an easy extermination of humanity had become their own destruction. Human ships that should not exist were using weapons that should be impossible, while alien technology was being turned against its creators by computer viruses that learned and adapted. So-young, Yoonji, and Kyung-soo reached the Silent Thunder, just as the quantum virus completed its infection of the enemy flagship. The Empire's Wrath, the most powerful ship in the Valkyrie fleet, suddenly stopped firing and began transmitting human messages to the rest of the alien forces. "Let us get out of H." Fleet Marshal Thekran made his final desperate decision as he watched the last of his once mighty fleet burn in the cold void of space. With most of his ships destroyed or disabled, he would attempt something that had never failed before in Valkyrie military history, a direct assault on the enemy's home world. "All remaining ships, form attack formation around the Empire's Wrath," he commanded through the communication system that Yoonji's virus had not yet completely corrupted. "We will ram through their defenses and attack Earth directly. 37. Valkyrie warships, all that remained of the 200 that had entered the Sol system, gathered around their flagship. Even damaged and outnumbered, they still represented enough firepower to destroy a planet. If the fleet marshal could threaten Earth's population, perhaps the humans would surrender. But Admiral Ji-hai had spent 8 years preparing for exactly this moment. She watched the surviving enemy ships form up for their final attack and smiled coldly. The Valkyrie still did not understand what they were facing. "Activate Terra's shield," she ordered. High above Earth, what appeared to be a simple space elevator suddenly revealed its true nature. The massive structure that stretched from the planet's surface to orbital space was not just a transportation system. It was the largest weapons platform ever constructed by human hands. Captain Minji stood on the command deck of Terra's shield and watched the enemy ships approach. She had commanded this hidden fortress for 3 years, disguised as a civilian engineer working on orbital construction. Now she could finally reveal what her team had really been building. "All weapons systems online," her tactical officer reported. "Dark matter cannons charged and ready. Quantum torpedo tubes loaded. Defensive teleportation arrays activated." "Target the enemy flagship," Minji ordered. "Show them what human engineering can accomplish when we are properly motivated." Terra's shield fired its main weapon, a compressed dark matter cannon that human scientists had developed by studying the structure of space itself. The beam that struck the Empire's Wrath did not just damage the alien ship. It caused parts of the vessel to simply cease to exist, leaving perfectly spherical holes through the hull where the dark matter had passed. Fleet Marshal Thekran felt his ship shudder as sections of it disappeared around him. Emergency alarms screamed through the corridors as atmosphere rushed out through holes that had not been cut or blasted, but simply deleted from reality. "What kind of weapon was that?" he demanded. "Unknown, Fleet Marshal. Our sensors show that. Portions of our ship have been converted to pure energy. This technology is beyond anything in our database." The other Valkyrie ships opened fire on Terra's shield, but their weapons never reached the target. The human fortress was protected by quantum teleportation arrays that redirected incoming attacks, energy beams and missiles that should have destroyed. The human station instead materialized inside the alien ships that had fired them. Valkyrie commanders watched in horror as their own weapons appeared inside their hulls and exploded. Ships that had fired plasma cannons at the human fortress found plasma charges detonating in their engine rooms. Vessels that launched missiles discovered those same missiles exploding in their command centers. "This is impossible," transmitted one alien captain before his ship destroyed itself with its own weapons. "They are using our attacks against us." Dr. Min-ho watched the battle from Earth's surface with satisfaction. Terra's shield represented 8 years of human innovation built in secret while the Valkyrie thought they were fighting a primitive species. The station incorporated technology that the aliens could not understand because it was based on principles they had never discovered. "Admiral Ji-hai, the enemy flagship is still operational but heavily damaged," he reported. "Should we finish them with the dark matter cannon?" "Not yet," the admiral replied. I want to speak with their commander first. She activated the communication system that could reach any ship in the solar system. Fleet Marshal Thekran, this is Admiral Jihai of Earth Defense Command. You have lost. Surrender now, and your surviving crews will be treated according to the Galactic War Conventions. Thekran's image appeared on the communication screen. The old Velkari looked tired and defeated, his gray skin pale with shock. Admiral, you have defeated my fleet, but you cannot win against the entire Velkari Empire. We have thousands of ships across hundreds of worlds. That is where you are wrong, Fleet Marshal. We have been studying your empire for 8 years. We know the locations of your military bases, your supply lines, and your command centers. More importantly, we know about all the species you have. Enslaved? What do you mean? Admiral Jihai's smile was cold and hard. We mean that your empire is about to discover what happens when humans decide to stop being victims and start being liberators. Commander Junho led the final boarding assault on the enemy flagship. His team of elite soldiers wore armor that could adapt to any weapon and carried guns that fired through alien shields as if they did not exist. With him was Marine Hyunwoo, the veteran fighter who had survived 8 battles against the Velkari. Remember, Junho told his team as they approached the Empire's wrath, our families died in Velkari attacks. Our colonies were burned by Velkari fleets. Today, we make them pay for every human life they have taken. The boarding craft attached itself to the alien hull and burned through the armor with molecular cutting tools. The human soldiers poured into the enemy ship, their weapons and armor far superior to anything the Velkari had seen before. Alien security teams tried to stop the boarders, but found their weapons useless against human technology. Energy beams that should have killed the invaders instead passed harmlessly through armor that could phase in and out of normal space. Return fire from human weapons cut through Velkari shields and armor like they were made of paper. This level is secure, Hyunwoo reported as his squad eliminated the last alien defenders in a corridor. Moving toward the command center, Fleet Marshal Thekran watched his ship being invaded by soldiers who fought like demons and carried weapons that seemed to violate the laws of physics. His security forces were being systematically destroyed by enemies who could walk through walls and fire beams that appeared inside their targets. How many humans are aboard our ship? He asked. His security chief. 50 soldiers, sir. But they are equipped with technology we cannot counter. Our weapons cannot penetrate their armor, and their guns can somehow fire through our shields. And they are led by Commander Junho, added the intelligence officer. Our files show that his family was killed when we attacked the human colony. At New Seoul, he has personal reasons for wanting revenge. Thekran realized that this battle was not just about military conquest anymore. It had become personal for the humans. They were not fighting just to defend their territory. They were fighting to punish the Velkari for years of atrocities. So young, now safely back aboard the Humanity's Wrath, monitored the quantum virus as it completed its work throughout the enemy fleet. The computer program had not just disabled Velkari ships, it had copied all their military databases and transmitted the information back to Earth. Captain Dong-Woo, we now have complete records of Velkari military technology, base locations, and strategic plans, she reported, including the locations of all the worlds they have conquered and all the species they have enslaved. How many enslaved species are we talking about? 47 different civilizations across 200 star systems. Some have been under Velkari control for centuries. Captain Dong-Woo felt anger burn in his chest. The Velkari had not just attacked humanity. They had been systematically conquering and enslaving the entire galaxy. Earth had been intended as their final test before launching an even larger campaign of conquest. Upload all that information to Admiral Jihai immediately, he ordered. She needs to see the full scope of what we are dealing with. Meanwhile, Commander Junho's assault team reached the command center of the enemy flagship. The Velkari Bridge was a massive room filled with alien technology and defended by the Fleet Marshal's personal guard, elite soldiers in powered armor, who carried the most advanced weapons in the alien arsenal. The battle was fierce but brief. Human weapons that could phase through matter made quick work of alien armor, while human shields that redirected energy made Velkari guns useless. Within minutes, the command center was under human control. Fleet Marshal Thekran stood in the center of his bridge, surrounded by human soldiers whose weapons were pointed at his head. He was old enough to remember when the Velkari Empire was small and weak, fighting for survival against stronger neighbors. Now he was witnessing its destruction at the hands of a species they had dismissed as primitive. "Commander Jun-ho," he said with dignity, "I surrender my ship and my remaining forces." "Your surrender is not accepted," Jun-ho replied coldly. "You came here to exterminate my species. You have destroyed human colonies and enslaved human civilians. There will be no mercy for those who show no mercy." Admiral Jihai's voice came through the communication system. "Fleet Marshal Thekran, you are now a prisoner of Earth Defense Command. Your ship and crew will be taken into custody. But first, you are going to help us send a message to your empire." "What kind of message?" "The kind that will make them understand that they're..." 6 months after the destruction of the Ninth Fleet, Dr. Hei-Wan stood in the research facility on Ceres and studied the final analysis of captured Velkari data. What she had discovered made her feel sick with anger and determination. The scope of alien atrocities was even worse than anyone had imagined. "Admiral Jihai, you need to see this," she said into her communicator. The Admiral arrived within the hour, traveling by fast transport from Earth. She looked tired but determined. For 6 months, she had been coordinating humanity's response to the Velkari threat while managing the liberation campaigns across dozens of star systems. "What did you find?" Admiral Jihai asked. Dr. Hei-Wan activated a holographic display that showed the galaxy with red zones marking Velkari territory. "According to their files, the Empire has been systematically exterminating entire species for over 300 years. Not just conquering them, completely wiping them out. How many species? 87 intelligent civilizations have been made extinct by Velkari military action. Another 47 are currently enslaved. Humanity was supposed to be number 88 on their extinction list." Admiral Jihai stared at the display with growing horror. "And after us?" "They plan to launch a massive expansion campaign to conquer the remaining free worlds in this sector of the galaxy. Earth was their final test to see if their military doctrine was ready for large-scale galactic conquest." The Admiral was quiet for a long moment. Then she made a decision that would change the course of galactic history. "Contact the Global Defense Council immediately. Tell them we need to convene an emergency session." "What are you planning, Admiral?" "Something that should have been done centuries ago. We are going to end the Velkari Empire completely. 2 weeks." Later, Admiral Dongwu stood on the bridge of the new flagship Terra's Vengeance and watched the first human interstellar attack fleet prepare for departure. 50 ships built with captured alien technology, but improved by human engineering. Each vessel was a miracle of science that combined the best of both civilizations. Dongwu had been promoted to Admiral after his actions during the defense of Earth. Now he would lead humanity's first offensive military operation beyond the Sol system. It was a responsibility that both honored and terrified him. "So Young, are all ships ready?" he asked. Dr. So Young, now the fleet's chief technology officer, checked her displays. "All vessels are equipped with quantum virus weapons, phase shift, drives, and gravitational manipulation systems. We also have the new liberation packages." Liberation packages? Weapons, communication equipment, and tactical data specifically designed for enslaved species to use against their Velkari oppressors. Each package is customized for the local situation on different conquered worlds. The Terra's Vengeance was unlike any ship ever built. It incorporated human creativity with alien technology to create something entirely new. The vessel could phase in and out of normal space, fire weapons that ignored traditional defenses, and manufacture supplies using molecular assemblers reverse-engineered from Velkari equipment. "Admiral Dongwu," came a transmission from Earth. "This is Admiral Jihai. You are authorized to begin Operation Liberation. Remember, our goal is not conquest, but freedom for all enslaved species." "Understood, Admiral. We will not let you down." The human fleet activated their faster-than-light drives and disappeared into hyperspace, beginning a journey that would take them to the heart of Velkari territory. Their first target was the industrial world of Velkron 7, where 3 different enslaved species were forced to manufacture weapons for the Empire. Meanwhile, on Earth, Dr. Min-Ho worked with an international team of scientists to analyze every piece of captured alien technology. In 6 months, human science had advanced by decades through careful study of Velkari equipment and computer files. "We have made a breakthrough," he reported to Admiral G. Hyde during their weekly meeting. Our engineers have successfully reverse-engineered their faster-than-light communication system. What does that mean? We can now communicate instantly across the galaxy. More importantly, we can broadcast directly to every enslaved world in Velkari space without their government being able to stop us. This was exactly what Admiral Jihai had been waiting for. Begin immediate broadcast to all conquered worlds. Tell them that liberation forces are coming and provide them with detailed instructions for coordinated resistance. Across the galaxy, on dozens of enslaved worlds, alien populations received messages in their own languages, providing tactical intelligence, weapons specifications, and coordination plans. The broadcasts came directly from Earth, carrying a simple message. You are not alone. Freedom is coming. The first test of humanity's new offensive capabilities came when Admiral Dongwu's fleet reached Velkron 7. The industrial world was heavily defended by Velkari military bases and patrol fleets, but the aliens had never faced weapons like those, carried by human ships. All ships, begin phase shift approach, Dongwu commanded. Remember, our priority is protecting the enslaved populations, not destroying infrastructure they will need after liberation. The human fleet flickered in and out of normal space as they approached the planet. Velkari sensors could not track ships that existed only partially in their dimension, and alien weapons could not target vessels that phased through their energy beams. The space battle was brief and decisive. Velkari defense ships found themselves fighting enemies that appeared and disappeared at will, firing weapons that passed through shields and armor as if they did not exist. Within 2 hours, every alien military vessel in the system was destroyed or disabled, but the real work began when human forces reached the planet's surface. 3 enslaved species, the Korthak, the Zalani, and the Bricks, had been forced to work in weapons factories for over a century. Now they watched in amazement as human soldiers distributed weapons and coordinated their rebellion against their oppressors. Engineer Wu Bin led the team that captured the planet's main communications center. Admiral, we have control of their broadcasting system. We can now coordinate liberation efforts across this entire sector. Excellent. Begin transmitting tactical support to resistance movements on nearby worlds. The liberation of Velkron 7 sent shockwaves throughout the Velkari Empire. For the first time in their history, the aliens faced an enemy that could strike directly at their core territories with weapons they could not counter. Captain Su Jin, now commanding the intelligence ship Information's Edge, intercepted Velkari military communications as panic spread through their command structure. Admiral, the enemy is recalling fleets from across their empire to defend their core worlds. They are also requesting emergency support from their allied governments. What allies? Admiral Jihai asked. Apparently the Velkari have been working with 2 other aggressive species, the Morthak Dominion and the hegemony of Sarkonia. Both governments have been planning to launch their own conquest campaigns after the Velkari finished testing their military doctrine against humanity. This news changed everything. Admiral Jihai realized that the threat to galactic freedom was even larger than they had thought. The Velkari Empire was just one part of a coalition of aggressive species planning to conquer the entire galaxy. Contact Admiral Dongwu immediately. Tell him he needs to capture intact communication equipment from the next Velkari base he liberates. We need to know everything about these allied governments. Dr. So Young had evolved from an engineer into one of humanity's leading experts on alien technology and military strategy. She worked aboard the Terra's Vengeance as Admiral Dongwu's. Fleet liberated world after world from Velkari control. Admiral, I have been analyzing the pattern of Velkari conquests, she reported. They specifically targeted species with advanced technology or strategic resources. Every enslaved civilization has something the Empire needed for their expansion plans. What kind of things? The Korthak are excellent engineers who designed most of the Velkari's advanced ships. The Zalani have natural abilities that make them perfect computer programmers. The Bricks can survive in toxic environments, so they were forced to work in chemical weapons factories. Admiral Dongwu understood the implications. So the Velkari Empire is not just built on conquest. It is built on enslaved labor from dozens of species. Exactly. And that means when we free these worlds, we also Gain allies who have knowledge and abilities that can help us fight the larger threat. As human liberation forces spread across Velkari space, something unexpected began to happen. The freed species did not just return to their old ways of life. Instead, they began working together in ways they never had before, united by their shared experience of oppression and their gratitude to humanity for their freedom. The Korthak used their engineering skills to improve human ship designs. The Zalani wrote computer programs that could break any alien encryption. The Bricks volunteered to infiltrate the toxic worlds where other enslaved species were held. Within 1 year of the destruction of the Ninth Fleet, the Velkari Empire had lost over half of its territory to liberation forces led by humans, but composed of dozens of freed species working together. Fleet Marshal Thek Ron, still a prisoner on Earth, watched reports of his empire's collapse with something approaching admiration. "You have done something I thought was impossible," he told Admiral.